Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Let's read with me. I am your reader Sushma Verma. If you ever bought a book, kept it on yourself and told yourself, I will read it next week, but next week never came, right? This channel is for you. Today we are starting the first part of beautiful book called I Cannot Say Goodbye to You by Rithvik Singh. No pressure, no deadlines, just you, me and few pages at a time. Think of this as your reading buddy during chai breaks, commutes, or before sleeping. So grab your headphones, get comfortable, and let's turn the first page together. So, with this, let's begin. Part 1. Hope is a four-letter word. I wish Papa never comes back home, I whispered, as if it were a prayer, sitting next to my grandmother, my nanny, who gasped while reciting her usual innocuous prayers on her rosary. She could have simply repeated it after me. Perhaps God would have heard her, if not me. Rekha Shekhawat, my nanny, was born when two flowers were separated. And during the aftermath of partition, she told me how she had spent her childhood wondering why her father had a problem with her playing with her friend Darakshan, whom she loved with all her heart. When Darakshan eventually moved to Pakistan, she sobbed for days because it all happened so quickly that she could not even say goodbye to her. They had simply vacated the house one night and never returned. When she sneaked out the next afternoon to meet her, she found the house empty. Their memories were hanging on the clothesline instead of Darakshan's school uniform. At 13, Nani was married off to my grandfather, my Nana. She would show me her wedding picture, her entire face covered by a khungat. I would ask, how did Nana know it was you? And she would laugh. Her parents had named her Rekha Lata, but Nana later changed it to Rekha. Rekha sounded more urban to him, yet he still would not take her to his office parties because he could not take the ruralness out of her. Nani came from a lineage of working class, uneducated women. Working was a necessity, education a privilege. And if a woman worked hard enough, her daughters might have that privilege. But only if her husband approved. My great grandmother was a bawarchi at a viceroy's house. Nani's aunts would knit Jaipuri dupattas, and the ones that took months to embroider were gifted to Angreji madams by traders. They would get them washed before draping them as headscarves or tying them around their waists as an accessories. They loved our dupattas, but they could not afford to look like us. Nani would smile and tell me. Her smile was a history book. She worked at a hostel in a civil lines for over 15 years, where she would cook food for over 40 students every day. We used to live in a two-story house in a small colony near that hostel. Always close to her memories of those 15 years, working for students she kept running into all her life later, in one place or another. Before she began working at the hostel, she had worked at a private library near our home. She was surrounded by books, but she could not read. Unlettered, She was a cleaning assistant responsible for dusting books, unpacking new stock, and so on. Over the years, the dust settled in her eyes and she squinted more, saw less. Nani didn't remember her birthday because nobody else did. When she asked my great grandmother, Parnani, about her birthday, all she said was that it was raining that day. So, we would get her a cake on the first day of the monsoon every year. The moment it would rain for the first time every year, I would run to her and sing happy birthday. She would set her vast small henna dyed greasy hair and wear a smile that resembled pressed flowers. She would struggle to sing along, but she did not want me to sing Bar Bar Din Ye Aaye. For her, the real celebration was my ability to sing in a language she was only ever mocked in. At the library, when she would move her fingers over the titles, trying to make sense of the akshars, at the hostel where they would talk about her and assume she would not know. At approximately 84, with wrinkles covering her face the way bandage covered her ghagras, she was the only one at home who genuinely liked talking to me. She would answer most of my questions about everything. Why do I have to go to school every day? Because that's how you will get a job like your mother. Why do you oil my hair? So that it doesn't break off easily. And then there were questions she didn't have the answers to. Why does Papa pull Ma's hair when he's angry? Why was he not home on my last birthday? Why does Ma cry so much? When I would ask her such questions, she would make me sleep in her lap and curls my hair. She would dab the corners of her eyes with the edge of her pallu to keep her tears intact, as if by letting them out, everything would become more real. By not crying, we could assume it didn't hurt as much. She would shut her eyes the way she shut the achar burnies in the kitchen, ensuring not a drop was spilled. I eventually learned to keep certain questions to myself, mostly the ones I knew could make us cry. My parents named me Ashna, which sounded a lot like Asha, but the extra letter in my name ensured I was always close to hope but never really hopeful. A house with windows tapped from the outside, a fallen flower at the feet of a deity, my name translated to beloved, someone who was loved dearly. My eyes were charcoal black, the color of Nani's favorite urad ki dal, or the kali mirch she would crush with her imam dasta. My face was the color of the earth, unafraid of the sun. When Indira Gandhi was assassinated, Nani told me Nana put a photograph of her in the temple. He prayed to her every day. When I was born, he said I had her eyes. I inherited Papa's hair, straight, black hair, which I hated. I yearned for the curls Nani spent hours braiding. The curls of Ma that, to quote Nani, would have made Rajkumaris jealous. I would keep trying to curl my hair with a comb, not knowing that's not how it worked. I would stand in front of the mirror of Nani's time-worn Godrej almirah, trying to drape her ghagras and put a bindi on my forehead, hoping to look like her. But my hair made me feel like him, a lifetime imprisonment in my own body. Jayesh Shekhawat, a 5'1" income tax officer who hated his job but talked about the perks of government service at every family gathering, looked perpetually tired. He claimed to be so exhausted every day that it was as if he were a migratory bird that had traveled millions of miles to go from home to office and then back, his patience lost somewhere in the journey. He had mustache that never grew beyond a light stubble, as if he were forever trapped between boyhood and manhood. A different kind of Trishanku. His head always had more oil than hair, and nobody remembered what his lips looked like before he started smoking. He had gutka stained teeth and foul breath. He looked like the kind of 40 years old you would voluntarily give up your seat to in the metro simply because he seemed so beaten down by life. He would visit an old age home frequently where he would sponsor an outing for the residents every month. He prayed twice a day and believed in God so much that he would blame the Almighty for everything that went wrong in his life. I was in the second grade when I first learned about four-letter words. The teacher wrote random unrelated words on the blackboard: home, love, play, fear, dare. My eyes fixated on one word: fear, a word I was hearing for the first time. Fear, fear, the word kept playing in my head like honking trucks on the highway at night. The teacher then explained how lions are the kings of the jungle and everybody fears them. It's the feeling you have when the lights suddenly go off at night, she explained. Fear for me was Papa's voice yelling at Ma on a random Tuesday night, dragging her by her feet from the living room to the bathroom to the kitchen, where he would grab a knife and threaten to kill himself after banging her head against the wall, beating her unremittingly and eventually passing out. Fear for me was knowing that one day the same might happen to me and I would not be prepared. My head would hit the wall and there would be blood everywhere. I would try to get up and run but fail, my feet slipping in a puddle of my own blood. I would be defenseless because of the four-letter word I had just been taught: fear. There are so many feelings that we have felt multiple times, but there is comfort in knowing that there is a name for them, in knowing that someone out there has felt the same way, however painful it might be. After learning the four-letter word for the first time, I went home and told Nani about it. As I mentioned the word to her, she sat me down to untie my hair and dress me in my home clothes as, as her almost weightless fingers moved through my hair. She taught me one more word: Umeed, hope. If word she would keep repeating until I would learn it by heart. We believe that things could get better. But I was too busy focusing on the episode of Looney Tunes playing on television to register that word at first. And even if I would register it, I still wouldn't remember it for long, just like the other four-letter words I was taught at school. Fear wasn't forgotten because I cared about the word. I felt it, I understood it. Nani persuaded my parents to enroll me in Satyam Residential Cum Day Boarding School, School Vasant Vihar, a big ICSE institution that looked more like a resort than a school, where the children of many ministers studied, ministers responsible for the growth and maintenance of government schools. There was a waiting list of 2 years and getting admission required far more than an entrance test. I would see the big banners all across the city, and I had promised myself, my Ashu will study there, Nani would say. Ma didn't mind spending money on me. Maybe it was her way of not feeling guilty about the distance between us. A distance she didn't really seem to care about. She was financially independent, and as long as she was paying for me, Papa didn't have a problem. Also, with all the money Papa was making through corruption, school fees were the last of his concerns. Nani and I would go to a park every evening for an hour where Seher, my best friend from school, would join us. We would play together while Nani strolled with her friends. Her eyes would always be on me, making sure I was safe. The way sparrows stay close to their fledglings. Seher was the same height as me, but her eyes were rounder and her hair was the most beautiful thing in the world. Perfect curls. We were inseparable like sisters, or like pre partition India. We had lunch together every day, sat in class together, and while we would talk to other classmates, we spent most of our time with each other. We liked it that way. Going to the park together every day brought us even closer. She was the one person who ensured I looked forward to school each day, and Nani loved her too. She is my Banni Thanni, she would say. They had their own bond, which I was fine with as long as Nani gave me more attention, which she always did. At night after dinner, Nani would paint in the silence of her room. She would open the window, and on days when we were lucky, we could see the moon smiling back at us. She would give me a storybook and sometimes a blank sheet and some colors. I was allowed to paint anything I wanted. Houses with roofs larger than the rest of the structure, purple clouds, streets as narrow as Nikah Wali Gali in Lahore. Sometimes she taught me small things about painting, how to draw different shapes, how little V's could be birds, how large inverted V's could be mountains, and so on. I never understood how she made her paintings, but I found them beautiful. A woman carrying a matka in the middle of a desert all alone. Another depicted a woman sitting under a tree, her face completely veiled. Another showed a woman sitting by herself with the Balrup idol of Krishna in her hands near a temple. When I asked her about it, she told me it was inspired by Mirabai. a princess who loved Krishna so much she devoted her entire life to him. She painted me too, sitting with a drawing book by her window smiling. If I could, I would have devoted my entire life to her. Ma would come back from work at night and Papa even later. Sometimes he would not come home at all. Those were our most peaceful nights. On those nights, Nani would let me watch cartoons until late. Oswald, the Powerpuff Girls, Pokemon. When Papa was home, I wanted him to look at me like a wildflower growing through a crack at the side of the street. When your car stops at the traffic signal, you glance at the flower absent mindedly but don't remember having looked at it. Its existence is inconsequential to you. It does not make you feel anything. You could not care less, you let it live. Nani and I had this little ritual of sitting together in the veranda every evening, having tea with biscuits and stories. Stories of how famous politicians would come to town and people would run behind their cars, waiting for hours to catch a single glimpse. How George Fernandez in 1974 sought refuge at her brother's place for a night while he was hiding in Delhi. How women were scared of Sanjay Gandhi. When I asked her why, she ignored my question. She would tell me how Parnani would make the best kadhai chicken in the world but never ate it herself because the women in her family were supposed to be vegetarian. Good women don't eat meat, Parnana had taught her. She told me how, when she refused to give up non vegetarian food, Parnani scoffed, Angrez mat ban. But Nani didn't care. She would tell me how she braided her sister's hair just like mine, and I would secretly feel jealous. I would tell her how school was boring, and she would tell me how her class teacher had almost cried when Parnana took her out of school in 8th grade to get her married. She had prepared for the final exams but could not afford to appear for them. Child marriage was the norm, and women could not even speak to their fathers face to face, let alone exercise the autonomy to decide whom to marry and when. Once she showed me a picture from her childhood. It was a black and white photo of her and Darshan tying Rakhis to each other. We would tie Rakhis to each other because we didn't have brothers. This picture was taken by her father, who didn't mind us being friends. This was the last Raksha Bandhan we spent together. I still keep a Rakhi aside every year for her. She told me with bittersweet tears. Why do you still keep Rakhis for her? I asked. Because that is what you do for the people you love, she said with glistening eyes. You never lessen your love for them and you laugh at the distance. She picked up her cup of tea and before taking a sip asked, How is the day? Amazing, Nani, like always, I replied, taking another sip, knowing that with her around I was loved despite everything. We never ate in a cheap crockery, but also we never ate in peace. An air conditioned home with cold hearts. I was allowed to buy all the toys I wanted, but I had to hide the ones with sharp edges because who knew when my father might launch something at me. I could be playing and something would hit me in the eye, or the nose, or the head. I didn't understand how so much power could coexist with such powerlessness? How could three people in a house tremble in fear while one person made them tremble? What was the source of his power? Why could we not have it? Nani was almost always angry at Ma for not leaving him, for putting out with the violence, intoxicated and with nothing to lose. One night he pushed Ma to the floor with all his strength. When Nani tried to intervene, he held Ma by her hair with one hand and pushed Nani with the other. She struggled to keep her balance as I ran to her, but before she could hear her next heartbeat, she hit the ground with a thud that still echoes in my ears as if it were the sound of my own heartbeat. I remember it all too well. Her eyes benumbed, the way her legs twisted as she fell, and the way Ma and I wept after. She was unconscious. She was she was unconscious for 12 hours. A metal rod supported her left leg then, a physical manifestation of our collective trauma that would stay with us all our lives. The limb that followed became a constant reminder that he was not to be questioned, his authority could not be challenged. I had never seen a God fearing man so unafraid of God. Ma apologized to Nani every day. She promised her she would confront him. She promised she would file for a divorce, but we kept waiting for that day. She would cry every time she entered Nani's room and sat beside her. Nani never stopped interfering whenever my parents fought. But now her voice, her hands, and her legs trembled far more. Eventually, we stopped going to the park as she could not walk that far anymore. She found walking with a stick humiliating. One day, when I came back from school, I threw my bag on the dining table and a glass vase broke. Nani cleaned up the shattered glass and replaced it with a wooden vase the next day. This one will not break so easily, she said. Nani would be the wooden vase when Papa would yell at Ma, always trying to stand between them and keep her safe. After the fight was over, she would sit on the floor near her bed, her face covered with her sari, and I would realize she too was a glass, trying to be strong for us, breaking on the inside. I would always wait for winter because that was the time I would finally get to wear all the sweaters she had been knitting since summer. She loved knitting sweaters for me. She would break the rotis into tiny pieces and put them in my lunchbox that I would carry to school. She would make lunch before I would come back from school, but make the rotis only after I was back so that I would get hot, fresh ones. Whenever I returned from the school, I would fall into her arms and tell her everything about my day. She smelled like pickles, past and patience. I never asked about her day because I knew she had just read the newspaper and was waiting for me to come back home. She would read the newspaper from cover to cover every day, not because she cared about the news, but because nobody cared about her enough to wonder how she spent time in their absence. Nani lived with us because Ma was her only daughter, and the house belonged to Nana first and then to her after he passed away. Papa didn't object, because he had no support from his side of family, who lived in a small village in Rajasthan near Chittor. They didn't really like him, Nani told me, and his anger issues made it clear to me that nobody could really like him. Thanks to Nani, he got a house and someone who would cook for his family and take care of his daughter so he won't have to. Nana passed away long before I was born, but what didn't pass with the time was the constant feeling of loneliness that his passing had left Nani with. I don't know if he loved her or not, but she definitely missed him immensely. We would spend hours seeing old photographs in a photo album she cherished a lot. I would see her long hair in the snapshots, and although I would not ask her, I wondered why her hair had thinned so much. Her eyes were shadowless in the pictures, even in the black and white ones. She looked more colorful than I ever could. In more recent photographs, she could be seen barely smiling. In the ones she did, she somehow looked sadder, like an old bird that could not get herself to sing anymore. Ma looked like the conventionally beautiful actresses featured in problematic fairness cream advertisements. Eyes, the color of dried roses and sangwan doors. Hair, the color of monsoon clouds, and cheekbones that could easily make anybody envious. She looked resplendent in her kota doria and motda saris, a pinch of sindoor in the parting of her hair, and a small shilpa bindi on her forehead. Unlike Nani, she wore a watch on one wrist and bangles on the other. When I asked Nani why she never wore a watch, she said watches were only meant for educated women because time never changed for the unlettered. I didn't understand what she meant. Ma had been working as a social science teacher at a government school since she was 23. For the first 19 years of Nani's wedding, she could not convince. Nana longed for a son with all her his heart. Ever since Ma was born, Nani only called her my beta. Ma had always been an absent figure in my life. The violence had made her forget how to express her heart, or perhaps she was too embarrassed to speak with me, given the number of times I had heard her scream. I had lost count of the number of times I hid behind the curtains in the living room and shut my ears with my hands to block out her cries for help. She was helpless. We were helpless. Papa had never been physically violent with me, but his words did the job. He often called me Anchahi, Kutia, Haramchadi, and Kamini in the middle of fights. Ask that bitch to shut the fuck up was a common statement he would throw every time I would start crying on watching them fight. He hated it when I cried loudly. I was not supposed to raise my voice even in pain. I don't remember one moment when he spoke to me like a decent human being, let alone held me in his arms or carried me on his shoulders the way fathers usually carry their children at fairs. I didn't exist for him on most of days, and deep down, it was peaceful knowing he didn't notice me because I was always afraid of what might happen if he did. He would push Ma down on the bed and then kick her in the stomach, sometimes in the legs. Wherever his foot reached, she struggled for air as he held her by the neck and slurred endlessly. You slut, you always turn me into this person. According to him, she was turning him into someone he was not, and he was letting her do that. For a man who did not let her breathe in peace, he was surely overestimating the freedom she had to undo him as a person and remake him into someone else. Anything could unleash his anger. If the gravy in the food was too enough or not enough, if she would ask him more than two questions, if there would be a power cut, if he had an argument with a colleague, if he would not wake up on time, if it was never about something Ma did. I wondered when it all began. Was he always like that? Why did Ma even marry him? I had no answers. All I knew was that everything was always about how he felt, and somehow Ma was the one he could abuse without consequences. Ma's life was a never ending funeral, her own, slow poison, steady undoing. Over time, I understood that grief and numbness were sisters. Excruciating grief came with a constant feeling of emptiness that deprived you of words and thoughts, filling you with an indescribable sense of drowning, as if there were oceans inside your body, and while you always struggled to breathe, you simply could not die. Ma took the path of portraying a happy household in front of everyone else. When her friends came home, she would tell them how he had bought her a new sari or new earrings, which in reality she had bought herself. When she would show off her earrings, I would notice the scars behind her ears. When she would flaunt her sari, I would notice the marks of his nails etched into her waist. I wondered how someone who aspired to be this happy could settle for being this sad. I wondered every day when would it be my turn. He was already hurting me with words. Would he also start hitting me the same way? Would my mother turn into me, hiding behind the curtain, or would she save me? I had once tried to intervene in the middle of my parents' fight, and Nani grabbed my hand and pulled me into her room instantly. With more tears on her face than skin, she placed my hand on her head and made me swear never to meddle in their fight again. I knew then that the violence was only being delayed, not erased from my fate. One day it would be my turn, I would be on the floor, his knuckles buried deep in my stomach. I would spit blood and struggle for breath. I might not even survive. I wondered what it would take for me to live without wondering when I might have to start praying for death. Papa's words were a colony of termites feeding on the architecture of our existence, eroding the one word Nani had asked me to remember by heart, Umeed, hope, until I could not remember it anymore. Nani and I were sitting by the bank of a river. 12-year-old me rested my head on her elbow as she told me an Akbar Birbal story she had read in a magazine. But I was not really listening. All I cared about was how peaceful it felt. I was sitting beside her, my head lighter than the breeze, and my heart a butterfly fluttering without being worried about someone chopping my wings off. Suddenly, the river began asking me for water. Why is the river asking me for a water? I thought as the voice of the river grew louder. Pani, Pani. I could hear it screaming unably. I got up and moved towards the river, but then realized it was rushing towards Nani instead. I ran to save her, but she had already started disappearing. The water was now vanishing like it wasn't even there. Her voice faded into nothingness. That was when I heard someone's voice and walked with a jerk. I realized it was not the river that was screaming. Pani, Nani said, her voice barely audible as she struggled to sit upright. Upright was never quite the right word. All my life I had seen her back shaped like a crescent moon, the upper part of a question mark. I had seen old photographs of her standing straight, but I could not barely recognize that version of her. I noticed her eyes were wider than usual, both hands clutching her chest. I knew I had to rush to the kitchen, but the loudness of my heartbeat made her whispers inaudible. I froze. I could not feel my feet, stood there as she kept repeating the word Pani. My feet had been frozen by the four-letter words they had taught me at the school fear. I stood there for a few seconds, staring at her, still frozen, almost as if I were still asleep. I mustered all my courage and regained composure. I rushed to the kitchen, but the moment I turned back, she was on the floor. Her voice had stopped. I could now hear the voices of my parents, who were fighting in the background in their room. I knocked ceaselessly on the door. How long had she been asking for water? Why did I even go to sleep? Why did I not stay awake just a little longer? Tears flooded my eyes as my parents came out of their room and called the ambulance. I could not feel my eyes or the rest of my body. My hands were shaking. Where do you hide when when an earthquake is born inside you and you spreads in seconds? When you can feel your entire body turning numb, where do you look for sanity? My Nani, who had loved me so much that she made me feel warmth in a house that was always burning, was being taken to the hospital. All because I didn't fetch her water. I froze. The one time she needed me, I was not there for her. I watched three men lift her into the ambulance. I covered her head because I knew she would never be okay with going out without her head covered. Her hair was undone. She had oiled mine every day. She would never step out without putting her hair in a braid. I wanted to braid her hair, but there was not enough time. We took her to the hospital, and my father was quite on the way. Maybe he was happy that she was in that state. He had never liked her anyway, but I wanted to believe there was a latent humanity in him. Umeed, as Nani had once tried to teach me. He didn't say a word, and that was better than anything he could have said. They changed her into a hospital gown, foreign clothes on her frail body. I remembered how she always wore poshaks. She even had poshaks for night dresses. She must be so uncomfortable in those clothes, I thought as they took her into the operating theatre. I saw Ma crying on the hospital floor like an infant who knew nothing else. I saw her breaking down into what I now understand was a panic attack. Please don't leave me, she yelled at the top of her lungs as the hospital staff asked her to calm down. Even when her mother was critical, she was not allowed to express herself. Social conduct mattered more than a personal grief. Stop making a scene, please. People know me here. Papa said, annoyed. My mother had a heart attack. She might not make it. And you are asking me not to create a scene? If you had not been so drunk, she would not be on her deathbed. Ma responded with more tears in her than voice. Deathbed? Deathbed? The words settled in my mind without consent. The way Nani was made to wear her gown against hers. Blame God, not me, and stop yelling at me in public. Papa snapped immediately, reminding her of her place. I watched Ma, her sari drenched in tears and sweat as she struggled to sit upright. Her kajal streamed down to the bottom of her cheeks, and strands of her hair fell loose over her face. I could not even cry, and to this day I don't know why. Nani isn't going anywhere. She will stay for me, if not for anyone else. I reassured myself as the doctor came out of the operating theatre. It had been several hours, and Ma had not stopped crying ever since. I had been hours. It had been hours since Papa sat with his head bowed in a corner opposite us. His bent back reminded me of Nani, who could never stand straight because of him. There was not much I wanted to say to my Nani. I just wanted to hold her close, the way she had held me all my life. The rest of my life would be an apology to her for having fallen asleep that night, for not fetching her that glass of water. I was scared in ways even Papa could not scare me. I was scared in ways I didn't even understand. She understood me the way poets understand grief and the way grief understands poets. I didn't want to lose her. There are some people you love so much that even in your imagination you cannot exist in the isolation. They are by your side almost as if they are not a part of your life but a part of your body. They are your heart. The hospital room was a vampire that fed on happiness. I a dimly lit room with the light of my life lying inside like a small baby. The doctor finally let us in. She's doing better now, out of immediate danger. At least he said matter of factly. Hope she's fine, doctor, Ma asked in a voice that didn't sound like hers. It sounded like the voice of someone who had already lost someone in her mind. She's fine, Papa invaded the conversation. She will be discharged in 2 days. We are keeping her under observation until then, the doctor added as he walked away briskly, a nurse following him. I felt my breath return when I saw her face, but she looked thinner, her hands thinner, her eyes a blank canvas. Don't look so worried. I am right here, Ashu, she whispered. Please don't leave me. I said, breaking into tears. Stop crying, my Ashu. I asked the nurse. I am fine. She replied in a voice that sounded nothing like hers. I cannot say goodbye to you. I cannot say goodbye to you, Nani. Promise me you will stay, I whispered through tears. Suddenly something shifted. I found it difficult to hear her voice. I could no longer see her face. Everything started disappearing, the hospital room, the bed, and eventually her. That was when I heard another voice and woke up instantly. It was Ma crying beside Papa. He was holding a report which he set aside before sitting down. I did not understand what was happening. The doctor told us that she was no more. She was dead. The only person who loved me didn't make it. She had passed away. She passed away. All because I didn't get her water. All because I was sleeping while she struggled for breath beside me. My legs froze. I found myself on the hospital floor, my hands pressed tightly against my stomach, as if I were trying to hold my entire body together. I was breathing as loudly as my father yelled. A tremor ran through me, taking over my whole body. The vampire was content for the day. She was the only person who tried to save my mother. I killed her. She woke me every day with kiss on my forehead. She would wake up before the first alarm rang so that I would wake to kisses and not to a blaring alarm. I killed her. She would tell me stories every night to distract me from the nightmares we were living. I killed her. I killed the only person who ensured I stayed alive. They discharged the body I used to call Nani a few hours ago. And Papa said he would be writing an obituary. I saw a tear roll down his cheeks. It didn't make me sympathize with him. It didn't make me feel anything, honestly speaking. I heard so many words for the first time: death, obituary, funeral, ICU. Papa said he would have to start making preparations for the funeral right away, and I was driven back home. On our way back, I realized my home had already died. We passed by the PG where she worked for years, the park we used to frequent, and I realized it was raining outside. It was the first day of the monsoon. I pulled down the window panes and whispered, sorry. I whispered, "Happy birthday, Nani." I don't remember much about the day of her funeral, mostly because somewhere I was still hoping to hear her voice out of nowhere, like suddenly hearing a song at a cafe, one whose tune kept playing in your mind even when you could not recall its name. She was the music that kept my heart beating. I kept expecting her to show up at the door, to be there for me, as she always was. In another life, she would be with me, grating ginger over our tea, but life has its way of leaving sparrows in storms. I missed her, her pigmented elbows, eyes lined with kajal, the night blooming jasmine of my existence, the sun to my soul, my Nani. I remembered seeing her picture in the newspaper, Rekha Lata, it read, her original name acknowledged for the first time in years. I didn't have the courage to read the rest. There were lots of others, people's pictures beside her. So many people had lost loved ones on the same day. I wondered how they said hope is what the word I wondered how they said hope is what the world stands on, but how does one manage to remain hopeful in a world where you can lose the people you love when you least expect it? Our names were written at the bottom of the obituary. I shut the newspaper quickly and then shut my eyes, remembering her. I was worried that if I didn't keep thinking about her, I might lose her. I remember Ma's face from that day. There was something in her eyes that made me cry the moment I looked at her. I ran to her and hugged her as tightly as I could. It was as if two rivers full of agony merged into one as a reminder to the other that it was not the only one feeling shattered. Maybe I wanted her to feel better, or maybe I was trying to feel something that could be felt anymore. Perhaps I realized then that the pain was not just mine alone but also hers. She had lost her mother, and her eyes looked like two wilting Irish flowers. Her the tears fell like petals in autumn. Please don't cry, Ma, I said, hiding my face in her sari, for I could not look into her eyes any longer. You are crying too, Ashu. Come here, she said, pulling me into a tighter hug. Her tears soaked my face. Will she never come back? I asked, hoping for an answer other than the one I already knew. Her tears didn't stop, and then an answer never came. That was the answer. She was not coming back. I don't remember who all attended the funeral, but I remember the loud cries. A lot of people were clad in neutral shades, women without jewelry, wearing only a Mangalsutra and Sindoor. Papa performed the last rites because the Pandit asked him to. Looking back, I realized he didn't deserve that honor. He didn't even care that she was gone. His tears could not convince me otherwise. When we returned home, Papa hung her picture alongside Nana's in the living room. She had spent so many hours crying in front of that picture. She loved him so much that she finally left for him. Did she love him more than me? Did she leave because she chose him over me? I felt abandoned, alone, unwanted. On some days, I would imagine her with Nana sitting together, laughing ear to ear, like two carefree children. The thought would make my heart lighter. I would often look at the picture on the wall, thinking that if I looked at it long enough, it would talk to me. I would watch her paints and brushes every night. The paints were drying up. Perhaps they too were mourning her absence. Her absence had faded the colors of the paintings in her room. I oiled my I oiled my hair alone every night in silence without any stories. I spent evenings staring at an empty kitchen, slowly dying without the aroma of chai and our laughter. Sometimes I sat with two empty cups, pretending she was still there beside me. I would pull my pillow closer at night, hoping it would make me feel the way she did. I would come back from school hoping that when I would open the door, she would be right there, her newspaper folded neatly by her side, her spectacles on her head. She would then come towards me, limping slowly with open arms and a smile I missed more than my own. I went to the park only once after she passed away and walked where she used to, around without tears, another full of them. I slept in her room by myself, and while I didn't understand a lot of things, I understood completely that I was all alone. Nani's demise made me know my mother a little more. It gave me an opportunity to connect with her. She started talking to me more often. She didn't remember the names of all my classmates the way Nani did. She would not break my rotis into little pieces. She was not patient enough to listen to all my stories, but she would listen to a few and then ask me to go to bed because there was always something or the other left to do. She tried, but it was never quite the same. She was just not Nani. It took her a while to make me part of her routine, but eventually I became part of it, and she became part of mine. Still, I felt she was only ticking things off a list because she had to. Now that Nani was no more. For a few months after Nani passed away, Papa was not violent, but we lived perpetually in fear. The four-letter word could not ever leave the room, for it was stitched too deeply into our existence. We lived with someone capable of harming us in inexplicable, indefinable ways, and we never knew when the next episode of violence would take place, and then it happened. 4 months after Nani's death, he had a terrible day at work. That bastard, he yelled, his voice cracking under the influence of alcohol as he loosened his tie and moved towards the bedroom. He thinks he owns me just because I work for him. I was hiding behind the curtains, barely breathing. I knew that tone. I had known it as long as I had known my own breath. I knew better than to be seen. Why don't you tell him you are not okay with his behavior? Ma asked from the kitchen. I am not a woman. He would not change for me, he replied, unlacing his shoes. Ma tried to change the subject. I will make a palak paneer tonight. Dinner's not ready? He had found his reason for being mad. No, I had a long day at work. I just got back 15 minutes ago, she explained, her voice trembling as she kneaded the dough. You don't care about me at all, do you? He said, standing closer to her than her own shadow. Where's that coming from? She asked, her hands a fretfully fluttering pigeon. You have it easy, don't you? You get to do whatever you want at work, and then here you don't even bother making dinner on time. Must be nice being you. Ma didn't respond. She turned and walked out of the kitchen. He followed like the memory of a recurrent nightmare that remains unflinchingly fresh. Don't you ever feel like poisoning me? He said, grabbing her wrist. No, she replied quietly, her voice trembling, the lump in her throat anticipating what was to come. But I do feel like poisoning myself, she said, immediately regretting it. He tightened his grip and held her face, his nails pressed into her skin. She screamed, but it did not matter. It never mattered to him. I stood transfixed at the edge of the kitchen. I looked at the pressure cooker sitting on the counter and imagined grabbing it. I wanted to smash it against his head, but what would happen next? What would he do if I failed? That would not kill me. That would not kill him, would it? While I was staring at the cooker, I heard my mother's voice. Get off me, she screamed as she moved away from him. She touched her cheeks and realized her fingers were dipped in blood. Dinner, he asked, as if it were all a joke. Ma grabbed my hand and quickly took me into Nani's room. We locked the door behind us as he banged on it, trying to barge in. Eventually, his knocking faded into silence. She didn't make dinner, and it felt right. He passed out. We didn't sleep that night, but it didn't matter. I had not slept properly since Nani died anyway. For months after Nani left, when I would sleep at night, I would feel like my bedsheet was covered in blood, as if when I opened my eyes, I would see Nani with hers closed. I was scared to sleep in her room and to wake up on the first day of the monsoon. Raindrops on my skin always felt like acid rain. In the morning, I would wake up and wash myself with buckets full of hope, but the blood would refuse to leave my skin. I went to bed each night feeling as if I had not slept in days. I woke with a jerk and knowing you can keep falling off cliffs every night and still wake up every day and go to school because death, yours or of someone you love, doesn't announce its arrival, doesn't arrive all at once. One night I woke after the same recurring nightmare, but this time I saw more. I saw her crying in the middle of the fire, still alive. I saw her looking at me, begging for help. I screamed, petrified. Ma rushed to my room and slept next to me. She never slept in her own room again. That didn't stop the nightmares. But I would be lying if I said that didn't make me feel a little less alone. And I felt guilty for feeling that way. One day I took out a sari from Nani's closet and placed it beneath my head. Resting my head on her sari felt as if she were near me. Though I could not see her that night, I didn't have a nightmare for the first time in months. In the morning, as I put the sari back in the closet, I noticed two strands of her grey hair caught in the fabric. My Nani's hair. It was as if she was still here, as if I had not lost her forever. I broke into tears instantly. In the evening, I showed them to Ma. She took the hair and put it in a locket. She tied the locket around my neck, and when I felt it against my skin, it was as if a weight had been lifted from my soul. I knew I would carry her hair, the locket, her for a lifetime. Crying for someone relentlessly is a way of missing them, perhaps one of the most numbing ways of missing someone. You miss them until you can't feel your own eyes. Tears rest on your face and seem to be blend into your existence as if they had always been a part of you. Their absence becomes the pillow of you rest your head on every night. You share an intimacy with their absence that ends up making you feel lonelier than ever. They are in a such proximity to you, yet so far away simultaneously, that it's hard not to feel anxious, restless, and lost. You cannot escape the ache of losing someone you love because some people are all you have. They are that one piece of Jenga holding your entire life together. Their absence makes your whole life collapse. The year after Nani left was incomprehensible. I felt so disconnected from myself that I could hardly ever be present in the moment. I was always looking for her no matter what I was doing, having lunch at school, talking to Ma, or listening to my parents fight. As days passed, Papa's short temper remained the same. Years later, I understood that he always said things unintentionally because he knew they would hurt us. I have enough stress at work. I don't need to come back home and watch you cry over your mom. Not all of us are privileged enough to sit around and cry. She was old. We are all sad. But you can please, for fuck's sake, stop making everything about yourself. When someone is mean to you for a long time, eventually their words stop making sense. You see them for who they are. His statements, though cruel, became mere background noise after a while. Because Ma and I were already so hurt that it simply didn't matter. But when he kept saying all those things about Nani's death for months at a stretch, I eventually lost something. You cannot call it love or hope. I think I lost him. Not that I ever truly had him, but in my mind, he was not my father. Losing him didn't matter because I had not yet come to terms with the fact that I had lost Nani. I was used to his cruelty, but I was also used to her reassurance. When he would say he wished I had never been born, she would hold me in her arms and kiss my forehead. She would tell me he didn't mean what he was saying, that he really did love me, that she would not be able to live if I had not been born. She had her ways of protecting me from his anger, which was a knife hovering over me at all times. She saved me the way roofs save families, bandages absorb pain, blankets shield you from the roughness of winter, spines hold books together, candles burn themselves away, and stars fall and destroy themselves so you can wish upon them. She saved me enough to risk her own safety, and I don't think anyone is capable of loving another like that. Unless they must, unless they know the person might not make it. She wanted to save me at least, if not Ma. From what it seemed, Ma didn't want to be saved. She swallowed all his abuse as if that was what she deserved. Her eyes looked like floating lotuses in mud. They carried a sadness that was infectious, palpable, perennial. I wished I could save her from him. I also wished I could save myself. During winters, Nani would make the most delicious laddus. Her wrinkled hands would tremble as she pressed and shaped each one of them. Over time, her fingers had bent and twisted. She was fading away the way dew fades from windows pane when the sun comes out, slowly in a way that wasn't noticeable until all one could notice was her absence. Her hands moved the way a dimming candle flickers and flares. I remember telling her I didn't like laddus because it hurt me to see her struggle so much while making them. But she believed having a laddu a day would make me so strong that I would never fall sick. I climbed onto a stool to check the tin where she stored them. The tin was empty, and so was her room. Her room, despite all the sunlight, had become the color of my hair. The freckles on the bedsheet were like the wrinkles on Nani's face. The rug she had knitted seemed to bury itself further in the ground with each passing day. There were fewer sparrows outside. It was as if they saw her empty chair and forgot all their songs. At school, things felt different in all the wrong ways. I could barely focus and turned into one of those students who are only physically present in the classroom. I was used to scoring good marks, great marks in fact. Nani had once told me the story of her childhood. She was forced to quit school in the 8th grade and married off to a stranger who loved her immensely and went on to earn a master's degree himself, but who did not love her enough to let her continue her education. If only I were more educated, I would not have been able to help your mother a lot more. I could have had a house of my own, one where I would be decide the color of the walls. I would not have to ask before putting a swing on the porch. I would go shopping and pretend not to understand the price when they would ask 160 or 55. Your Nana would ask for my opinions more often. We would talk more often. He would not have to dumb things down so I could follow. I would speak Angrezi the way he did, ever so fluently. I would fill the house with paintings. I would travel, visit temples and mountains, get a fulfilling job. I would not be mocked by the students I cooked for. I would be happier, you know. Her words continued to echo in my ears before each exam. I had made it a point to ensure I studied, not because I understood what she meant, but because I inferred that education meant a lot to her, and so it began to matter to me too. I aced every test. I was the annoying kid in class who would cry about losing half a mark. Creaseless uniform, trimmed nails, braided hair, shirt buttoned to top. After the games period, I would not remove my sweater and tie it around my waist like the cool kids do. I would suffocate sweat non-stop but remain the student whose tie stayed the exact same way it was in the morning. I would always sit on the first bench and pretend to understand even what I did not. I mastered the art of nodding just the right amount, never giving away the fact that I had to study for hours at home to understand things. Since some of our teachers really didn't know how to teach, but I was supposed to love them regardless because that is what good students did. The teachers loved me, which meant the students didn't. Well, most of them didn't. I had only one friend in school, Seher. On the first day of 8th grade, I realized she had switched schools. I had not been in touch with her because of everything happening at home. But without her, I knew school would be harder. I felt bad for not being in touch with her. And now I felt even more terrible knowing that she was not in my school anymore. She was in my class, which was a big reason why coming to school felt nice. She didn't judge me for being overly involved in my studies. Her father was a doctor. Once in a vulnerable moment, I told her that Papa had hit Ma the day before and left a scar on the left side of her face. The next day, she gave me an ointment. This will help. Give it to her, she said, placing it in my hand. Your childhood is for being a mischievous squirrel that jumps from tree to tree without caring if she would fall. And even when she does, she forgets about it in a jiffy and goes on to another tree. A child should have a child should not have to Google ways to apply Savlon or the purpose of combi flame diclofenac cannot ease the pain of a lost childhood. I looked at the empty seat beside me and missed Seher more than ever. I felt completely alone. I didn't want to lose her. I was the kind of student who reminded the teacher about unit tests and pending homework. I knew it would be difficult for me to make new friends since I was one of those annoying kids, but trust me, it was worth it. Because I was doing it all for Nani, for her smile, to make her proud. Whenever there was a parent teacher meeting, I would take Nani with me. On those days, she would not wear poshak, our culture outfit, which she wore on all the other days. For PTMs, she draped a sari and asked if it looked modern enough. She would not cover her head and wore fewer bangles. She tried her best to look like everyone else at school. Does this look okay? She would ask me, adjusting her pallu. It looks great, Nani. Please stop worrying so much. I would tell her. I think you should take your mother. What if they treat you differently after meeting me? She would say every time before we went to PTM, wondering if her inability to speak English would draw attention away from her granddaughter. You are overthinking unnecessarily. I would reply, leaning against the door frame as I watched her adjusting her sari for nth time. It's a PTM for me where my grades will be discussed. You won't be judged. Trust me, I would hug her and say, I am the topper's Nani. I need to look perfect, she would say, adjusting her posture, trying to stand taller in her sari. I love her poshaks, ankle length, ghagras covered in mirror work, her ordinary slipping now and then from her head as she would chop vegetables in the kitchen or water her tulsi plant. She would wear many bangles and an anklet, the sound of which I associate with her. It was strange how both a sari and a poshak were traditional wear, yet only one was deemed acceptable in modern spaces. However, she would feel much assured at school. Every teacher had only nice things to say about me. She is so well mannered. She is always attentive. She has scored the highest marks. I would top my class and my name would be written on the blackboard. I still remember the way she would smile saying my name there. I'm so proud of you, she would say, tears filling her eyes. Please don't cry, Nani, I would reply, wiping her tears. I'm so proud of you, she would say, pulling me into a hug. I wish I could have spoken to her in a Marwari, which she told me was her mother tongue and, in a way, mine too. But is it still your mother tongue if your mother fumbles when she speaks it? If your grandmother inherited only half her mother's vocabulary, your mother inherited half of hers, and your own half is not enough to frame single sentences, let alone express your heart. Can something that is always leaving be somehow made yours? After Nani was gone, it became more and more difficult for me to care about most things, including grades. I wanted to study to make her proud, but knowing she would not be there at the PTM somehow killed all the motivation I had about being the perfect student. I had signed up for a debate competition a few weeks before she passed away. I had completely forgotten about it and went to school unprepared. I went up on the stage with nothing on my mind. I didn't realize when I broke down in tears in front of everyone. The entire school saw me crying. Words eluded me. I was shivering. My heart was racing so loudly that I was sure others could hear it too. I had never felt more embarrassed. I could not even imagine going back to school again. My English teacher, Vedahi ma'am, came and sat beside me that day. She was 5'2" with a dark brown hair flowing past her waist. She had big round eyes and the kind that assured she was really listening to you, which she always was. She told me it was okay, that it was just a competition. I am proud of you, she said, and my heart started beating faster. I held the locket around my neck tightly and continued to weep. I know you are still trying to cope with your loss. I know it's hard, but please come and talk to me anytime you don't feel alright. And it's just a competition. Don't be so hard on yourself, Ashna. I hate seeing you this way. Please don't cry, she said, hugging me. In that moment, life didn't hurt as much. Her words were the comfort I had been searching for. For once, I felt like someone understood me, someone knew how I was feeling, and didn't want me to feel that way forever. That evening, I called Seher and told her everything that had happened over the past few months. I am sorry for not being in touch. I still can't come to terms with the fact that we are not in the same school anymore, I said, my voice heavy with guilt. You didn't even bother checking in on me, Ashna. We were so close. You stopped picking up my calls and stopped coming to school. I was worried about you, but I thought you were not even thinking about me, she said, the hurt evident in her voice. You don't know how much I missed you and how badly I wanted to hug you, Nani. Is I was about to tell her what happened to her. Is she unwell, Ashna? Why didn't you tell me before? She interrupted me. She is no more. Seher, she's no more. I revealed, my voice trembling. There was silence, complete silence for minutes. I could hear her breathe through the phone. I am so sorry, Ashna. I thought you didn't care about me. I didn't even know this had happened. I don't know what to say. She replied, her voice shaking. You will always remain important to me, whether or not we are in the same school, okay? I told her, meaning every syllable with my whole heart. Ashna, please tell me you are okay. I really want you to be okay. My parents got transferred to Lucknow and we had to move. I called you so many times so we could meet before I left, but I know you could not pick up, she said, her voice heavy with tears. She had been close to Nani. I knew it would take her a while to come to terms with what had happened. I miss you very much, Sahar. School doesn't feel the same without you. It sucks, I replied. We will meet soon, Ashna. And whenever you are feeling low, don't think twice before calling me. I am right here always, she promised. You sleep at 9 p.m., Sahar, I said, trying to lighten the mood. I will still pick up, I promise, she said, laughing lightly. I love you, I said. More always, she replied. That night I slept peacefully. I remembered everything, the way she came home and Nani would pull her cheeks, the way in the fourth grade Nani knit us matching sweaters, the way she had not liked chai at first but we made her fall in love with it by coercing her into having it with us all the time because having chai together was a ritual, a bonding exercise, a love language, the way we would panic together before exam and she would get a pizza for both of us at the end of the exams, which we would feast upon together. I missed her. I wished she were not so far away. At school, things simply did not get better. I barely passed the seventh grade. I could not focus on academics. I no longer cared about my grades. I killed Nani. I killed her. I killed her. The thought refused to leave my head. The way dust takes over photographs, the edges grows pale, the paper oxidizes, and so begins the unthreading of nostalgia. The erasure of smile nobody even noticed until it is too late. I kept wondering how things would have been if I had just felt her the glass of water she had asked me for, if in that moment I had not frozen. In the final exam of 8th grade, I failed maths and barely passed the other subject. I held the answer sheet in my hands and stared at it until I realized it was true. I was no longer the perfect student. In fact, I had fallen far from perfect. I was a failure. What has happened, Ashna? I had to re- recheck your paper twice because I could not believe it was yours. My maths teacher, Prabha ma'am, said. The disappointment in her eyes stung my heart. You are a good student, Ashna. Please take this seriously, she added, staking the paper sheets without looking at me. I'm so sorry, Nani, I said to myself. Prabha ma'am called home and informed my parents about my grade. So now I should not just pay your fees, but also sit the exams in your place, Papa shouted. I saw him approaching me the way he approached me. I am sorry. I am. I said, tears striking my cheeks as I knelt, folding my hands before him. Please don't take us for granted, Ashna, Ma said, standing a little apart from us. I wanted her to come closer so I could feel I could be saved. Only she could save me. We have been called to your school tomorrow. We have jobs. You see, nobody has time for this nonsense, he said. He grabbed me by my braid and pulled me closer. He was now close enough for me to feel his breath. Listen, Kutia, you get your shit together or there is no school for you. Understood? He screamed. Leave her, she will do better next time, Ma said. From a distance I wondered if I would ever be able to bridge. As I heard my own heart racing, I wondered if he had won. The violence didn't escalate and he left. Ma hugged me, but it didn't make me feel anything. I ran to Nani's room, collapsed into her chair, and felt like crying. However, I could not feel anything, including myself. I sat there for hours wondering what was next in store for me. Would he eventually kill me? Would he beat me with his belt? Would Ma give me the same ointments for my face when he would start digging his nails into my cheeks? Would my teeth eventually fall off? Would I lose my ability to walk? I sat in the chair all night long, and nobody except the night sat beside me. Nani had once told me the story of how Akbar travelled over 300 kilometers on foot from Agra to Ajmer to visit the Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti Dargah. He prayed for a son, and Jahangir was born soon after. How far would I have to walk barefoot to reach Nani? I would rather have blisters all over my feet than his fingers on my skin. Was there a mosque, a temple, a church, or a shrine that could take me to her again? The next morning, Ma and Papa accompanied me to school. We were silent the entire way, and I didn't know what was going to happen. School had once been a safe space for me, a place where I was loved, cared for, and respected. My teachers saw potential in me. They loved me for what I was. But that day it felt a lot different. Papa, who had never cared to show up before, was here and he was to decide what happened to me next. The teachers asked us to come to an empty classroom where I saw Prabha ma'am and Vedhi ma'am sitting together. I felt a certain comfort saying the letter but wasn't sure if she would help me. Her grades have really dropped, Prabha ma'am said. She just doesn't want to study, Papa interjected. But why would such a brilliant student suddenly find it difficult to even manage to pass? We heard about her grandmother. By any chance, was she the one helping her with studies, Vedhi ma'am asked Ma. Unpad thi. Papa scoffed and sarcastically smiled on his face. What's going on, Ashna? We are all here to help you, Vedhi ma'am asked, ignoring his comment altogether. I could not bring myself to say a word. We are a day boarding come residential school. If she joins the hostel in class 9, I think it might help. Vedhi ma'am proposed, glancing at Ma. The fee? Papa asked, leaning forward. Not much of a difference. She is a good student. We can help you with the scholarship after we speak with the principal, Prabha ma'am replied. It will be great if you guys could take care of this, he said. This an object, an inconvenience. Papa had already consented to put me in the hostel without consulting Ma or bothering to ask how I felt about it. We will send you all the details, sir. A change of environment might help her cope better too, Vedai ma'am added. And so it was decided I was to be sent to boarding school. I didn't know how to feel about it. Papa wanted to get rid of me, and from where I sat, Ma honestly didn't seem to mind at all. And that's where we pause for today, right here. The next part of the story is with me, and I cannot wait to read it to you. Till then, stay tuned with me on Let's Read with Me. Thank you so much for staying with me till the end and giving this story your time. Take care, and I will see you in part 2. Till then, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Bye bye.